Well, all right, family, glad you can join me. Welcome back to part two. So, we did we're doing our double jabs, double hooks, and double uppercuts, and that's gonna be the theme, and that's what we're gonna work off of, and we're gonna practice some positions that I discussed, 4 different positions that help us with our leverage and balance for throwing those punches. Let's see. In a moment, you're gonna see my little buddy Lucky come into the camera and stuff. He's much older now. He's over 10 years old, and definitely has been a classic alpha dog. And he's very smart when he wants to be, jerk when he wants to be. Yeah, he's going to eat those weeds and stuff. He knows exactly what to do so that he's going to live forever. He's got pretty good genetics, and I trained him pretty well too, so he can do a whole bunch of tricks and stuff. What you're doing while you're listening to me, this is not a break or whatever. You should already be back into it, right? Just a reminder, all right? So I want you to be back into it. I want you to do the jab high and low, hook high and low, and uppercut high and low. Play with the distances also. And along with that, now I want you to make sure that you're fluid with doing all 3 of those punches, right? I want you to do them by leaning to the side or getting a little bit of leverage, or not leaning at all and just being straightforward. Okay. Then I want you to do them by taking a step. Okay, and then throwing them. Then I want you to do them by taking a step, but then as you're retreating or drawing back that step. All right, and then I want you to leap into them as well. Leaping into them can be straightforward or to the side or in some kind of angle and stuff, right? So what you're seeing here is what I'm showing you a little bit is the amounts of dedication that you can do, and this and like a lot of things that we practice and stuff, you can apply them for a lot of other things as well. So you see, the extension that you're going to get, the way to travel at a more distance, to increase the distance, the range of your shot, okay, can be a lot of ways. You can just simply take a step forward or lean into it or step into it or whatever, but you could also rotate your body, and naturally, okay, vice versa. You don't have to rotate your body, and that will also be a type of punch. You don't have to lean into it in any way as well. You maintain your position and stuff. So there's pros and cons and different benefits to each one and stuff. Like, for example, if you don't do much movement and you just maintain, you're probably not going to get a lot of power. But at the same time, it's like you're sitting back and you're letting things unfold, and you're seeing, okay, maybe you set a trap, or you're preparing to react to something. So you haven't dedicated yet. So by throwing a punch but not really leaning into it, or not overextending or extending much at all, okay, so yeah, you may not have the power in it as well, but you may be looking to see what your opponent is reacting to, or seeing what unfolds, and then you can follow up. So yeah, there's a whole bunch. Like, I mean, simply put, you're not throwing power shots every single time. No one does. I mean, and you could try, but it's just, it may work. So if you can just get your opponent out of there. But if you can't get your opponent out of there, and you're dealing with someone with equal skill, then 100%, 99.9, you never say never to anything, right, or whatever. But still, 99.9% of the time, you will not be able to throw power shots the entire time. You'll be at a big disadvantage. You may have thrown power shots the entire time, okay, but you'll have lost and stuff. So it's not wise, not feasible, not practical. All right, so here we go. We're still going, right? Now, the theme to part 2 here is, I want us to start, and you should see this already, I want us to start varying a little bit now. I want us to start modifying and feeding off of it, and let's say as inspiration, you're just going to do a little bit of shadow boxing now. Now you're going to get a little bit more freestyle, right? A little bit more freestyle. So occasionally in what you throw up and stuff like that, maybe you'll just throw a couple of jabs, you know, a couple of times, moving around, rotating and stuff. Maybe you'll do a couple of hooks. Maybe you'll do some hooks and uppercuts, but not jabs. You see what I'm saying? You see how we set the foundation? And of course, the same can be said for the positions. Maybe you'll step into some of them. Maybe you'll leap into another one. So maybe as part of your 1, 2, or just doubling up on one, the first will be a step, like in the jab, and then maybe you'll lunge or leap on the second punch of jabs, right? Now, also, I want you to play with the fluidity, the fluidity, the flow of it, the speed, the phrasing, and I've mentioned this before too. At all the time, play with your phrasings when you can. Simple math, right? Cover them all. When in doubt, cover them all. Oh, should I throw a left more than a right? I'm not really sure. Should I throw the right more than the left? You know what? Do both, and do both a lot. And that will just take care of everything. All right? That's what you should aim for. In an elite level, that's what you. But people have their theories or whatever, but that's at least what you should aim for. That, at least in some theoretical sense or an ideal world, I aim for being able to be as effective with my left as I am with my right. I want to be as fast on each side. There's no logical reasoning that will trump that, okay? There certainly are logic and reasoning involved, why my left hand might be faster in some punches than my right. But in a practical or an ultimate goal, there is no logic and reasoning that will trump the fact that I will always want to just keep getting faster with both hands. And I will always want to be great with both hands, both sides. Cool. So we're back to doing some modifications now, right? And what's going to happen here is it's sort of like the first phase of how we unfold out of the strict drill or the intentional drills, and how we're starting to freestyle and flow with it, and allow us to have fun and also to play. Or maybe this is the phase, round 2, whatnot, where we start targeting some of the shots where we were a little bit weaker at. So hell yeah. So if you didn't feel so great with that uppercut, then right now all this stuff you're seeing me doing should be predominantly that uppercut. So maybe I'll throw a bunch of jabs but with an uppercut, and then I'll throw a bunch of hooks but with the uppercut. The constant will be my weakest punch. And from this phase, from this part, I'll suddenly see something. Something will unfold. I'll feel something. I might notice a deficiency or an inefficiency, or I might notice something really great. All right, or just generally speaking, something will unfold and it will just present itself, and then I'll use that or be inspired by that or feed off of that, and that will lead us to a next drill or a modification or a variation. Like, for example, right here, right? So we remind ourselves now, of course, defense. So, excuse me, for every punch that we throw or for every combo that I throw, so double jab, I might, do some weaving or dipping and bobbing and weaving or moving. Fantastic. I'm really proud of you guys. Thank you for, all of your support and, joining in with me, even just mentally and stuff. I'm a firm believer, and I've said this before, that because of the fundamental nature of this process and the sacred nature of this process, working on yourself and stuff like that. It mirrors a lot of other things that we do and stuff. And the mentality certainly is shared and can be implied and used. So maybe you don't do any of this stuff at all, but you just, are friends with me and just enjoy the stuff that I say and stuff that I'm passionate about, and we share what each of us are passionate about and stuff. So yeah, the things that you're going to hear are going to help you even just a little bit in the things that you're passionate about and stuff, even if it's mental. Okay, things that you do physical certainly will influence the mental, of course, and it's a two-way street, of course it is. So things that you do in the mental, in the thought, in your ideologies and your reasonings and stuff like that will influence and affect your physical. Yeah, so there's a physical nature to everything, including thoughts. And to be fair, I'll say that there is a cerebral, there is a mind, a thought nature to everything as well, including physical. So, and that makes the most sense. I mean, and usually that's how it is, right? So what we're doing here, what I'm showing here is pay attention to your fist position as well. So freezing or stopping, and sometimes right on the moment of contact or when you feel contact or at the end of your range. Okay, I want you to take a look at your fist position. All right, there are a lot of acceptable things, but there are also going to be some things that might not be so effective or might be dangerous. What you're looking for is your wrist, the plane between the fist and leading into your forearm, right? Which is that like the delta of that or whatnot, and the avenue, the junction, the intersection, which would be the wrist, right? So you look at those three together in relationship, and what you're looking for is you're looking for stuff that might not make sense or might seem a little bit harmful and stuff, like maybe where your fist is really cocked tight in on impact, sort of like almost so that your fist is at a right angle to your forearm and stuff. That's not going to be good. That strike is generally not going to be good. So generally what you're looking at is you're looking for the structure of your fist and your wrist and your forearm to sort of be uniform, or to mostly be uniform. Those are very good ones and stuff. When you break that uniform plane, let's say just make a fist and keep it very straight with your forearm and stuff, right? Now just take your fist and let's say the thumb is facing you, right? And you're looking at it right now, right? Just your fist only. Now just tuck it in. Tuck it toward the inside of your forearm, but leave your forearm the way it is. You see that? Now if you struck like that, that's usually going to cause you trouble and stuff like that. Motion, 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 right? Movements and stuff. So here we are. We're going to have a little bit of session of movements in our drills today and stuff. It's not just about those combos, but this is also part of the combos, and we'll get back to doing all of our combos and drills and stuff. But throughout these three parts training session today, I isolate some things also, and then we first target what we isolate, and then we'll incorporate it and combine it back in and stuff. So sometimes your motions and stuff, they're side steps and stuff, laterally, so left and right of your target and stuff like that. But sometimes you got to use them or allow you to rotate around your target and stuff, which is still a certain degree of left and right and stuff, but more classically, you're now incorporating or trying to do what the definition of rotating means. So you want to rotate around your opponent, around your target to some degree. So really, it's cardinal directions. Always keep that in mind: north, south, east, west, and it's all the ranges in between those cardinal directions, the primary. Right? So that's obviously 90-degree range between each for each quadrant. All right, you ready? So there you go. I want you to do some kind of fast drill right now with me. Right? So yeah, don't worry. I mean, these are like tutorials as well. So you could pause it, or you'll just work a whole bunch of extra minutes after the video is done or whatever. But when you're doing those speed ones, you can do them as a complete dead standstill, and they could be all just shoulder, all arms, or you can have some motion or movement in your legs. And even there are certain trainings when you intentionally take little mini steps up and down, lifting off the floor and stuff, in position, but still. So those are drills also. Cool. All right, so we're more than halfway done. We're almost toward the end. We're getting a lot of work in there. Very good. So we should have had our structure in part one, and we're working and feeding off of that structure and breaking away from it and taking little pieces and parts of it and allowing those pieces and parts to evolve into other things. And then we're noticing things in those other things, and then we're taking a step back and then saying, okay, right, position, movement, sidestepping, right? And then we're practicing specifically a sidestep or something like that, and then we're taking that and plugging it back in. Right. Very important, always important, I'm showing you here, is, so you got to visualize that you're having a line, your line of attack, right? So sometimes you're remaining in your line of attack and driving through that line, and sometimes you're stepping off, you're tilting, or you're stepping out of, or you're dipping out of that line of attack, right? But you still are striking toward that line of attack. Now get some more speed stuff back in there. All right. The point is, I want you to mix and match it, and I don't want your body to get too comfortable in its process. And also, if I haven't told you before, one surefire way to work your cardio in a very complex, advanced way is to multitask. And that is a combination of multitasking physically and mentally. So let's say you're running, all right? I've done this, and it's a guarantee. If you haven't done these things in whatever you're doing, try it. It's awesome. So let's say you're running. When you're running, if you start thinking of something or purposely, or you start trying to recite something or say the alphabet and then say the alphabet backwards while you're running, running will become that much more difficult. While you're running or while you're punching, all right, if you intentionally take a certain step or do a certain thing or add something to it, to your regular flow routine, you break that flow cycle, and it becomes that much more difficult and stuff. So the point is, you want to try to break that how the body quickly tries to identify a muscle memory and tries to identify a pattern, and then tries to ride the coattails of that pattern and stuff, so that you almost coast through it. So somehow, if you can break that pattern, if you can break that symmetry, the whole process becomes a lot more difficult, and you find that you get a lot more out of breath. All right, so here again, I'm showing you that, you see, we've done this before. You see the line of attack and stuff. I want you to get off that center line, but you still will be punching that center line. At first, you see how I have that blue hanging little rag over there? Definitely have some kind of target or something that will help you and stuff, because the tendency is you will punch where you move. That's the tendency, okay? And specifically, or there are some famous quotes or sayings or understandings is, you punch where the head goes, generally speaking, right? So wherever you're going to dip or lean to, that's where your punches are going to tend to try to follow that and stuff. So by having a little target, you're able to break your center line, okay, break those direct lines and stuff, but you'll still be able to punch at that direct line. Your punches won't follow you and stuff. Other times you may want your punches to follow you, of course. So what should we be doing? Of course, practice both. Well, all right, this was awesome. You got through part 2. Let's get to part 3. Okay, have a minute breather.